travel, budget, cars. Welcome to the life of P&K. Hey everyone, welcome back to the life of P&K. I got the beast back. If you haven't checked out the previous video, there was damage on it right there. It's fixed. I was without a car for about a week and a half. I missed it so much, and they did a really great job on the door. You can see the damage is gone. Again, if you haven't seen the previous video, check it out. Without further ado though, I want to get into this video, and that is a couple things that I wish I could change about this car. I love everything about this car. This is the best car I've ever had, but there are a couple minor things that I wish I could change. Let me go through those things with you guys in this video so you guys have an idea what I would change personally. Everyone has different opinions. This is my opinion for this car and what I would like to change personally. But before that, again, the damage is gone. It looks perfect. One thing I have to take it back to, they didn't do a great job over here on the inside of the door jamb. It looks like they just missed some paint. There's a little like touch-up scratch or whatever here. So I'm taking this back to be fixed. But let's get on with the things that I would like to change about this car, or the things that annoy me personally when it comes to this car. Not many. The car is phenomenal. And personally, one of the major things that annoy me about this car is the seat belt over here. I'll always have to keep it kind of like fastened over the little seat hump, the bolster, the side bolster. I'll have to keep it like this because if I put it this way, and you guys can already hear, every time I make a turn, it hits the side panel, which is plastic. It hits the side panel and it makes like a rattle noise, and this annoys me to no extent. I know there's like an adjustment, maybe I can keep it like that, but it's a little bit harder for people to reach and use the seatbelt, and obviously makes it a lot longer for people when they're buckling down. But I could do that. It's an option I can fix, but I wish there was like a better way of doing it, because this, it's like floppy. You can put it up here, obviously. You can put the adjustment up here, avoid some of that, but you can still hear, even up here, it's the same thing. So the best solution I found so far is put the seatbelt over the bolster, just the backing a little bit more straight, and it tends to sit there for the majority of the time. Unless you start driving a little bit more quickly and stuff like that, it eventually will come loose and it will go back in its, I guess, design position back here, and it will start rattling again. And now let me show you the next thing. This will be mainly with the doors and how they're set up to unlock. You should change that, well, in my opinion, you should change that to, depending where you live, you should change this to have to where, like, when you get to the car, all four doors are unlocked. In this case, BMW has it set up to a specific setting, and I really don't like the setting. I know they do it for safety reasons, but that's one of the first things that I recommend you guys change. At least to me, that's a bit not annoying, but it's an extra thing that you have to unlock your doors. So what you have to do is kind of go into the settings, go into the doors, vehicle access, and then you can have a couple settings here. You can have a comfort access, the key button assignment, what they do. You can have the doors unlock automatically at the end of the trip. I'll leave that actually on, because you never know where you go and you need to fill up gas, and if you're ending up the trip, you might need the doors locked. You can turn also the vehicle after opening the door. I don't like to do that. I like to know when I'm turning off the vehicle. I don't want the vehicle to turn by itself. But this is the main setting we need here, the key button assignment. So what you have to do is click on that, and you can do all doors, and I've set it up to all doors to unlock when the car is when you unlock the car first, because you can have it set up to the only driver's side. And to me, this is a bit annoying. It takes a lot of, not work, but it's just annoyance. Like if you have like your work bag or something like that and you're trying to put it in the rear seat, you have to unlock the car fully. With this case, when I walk up to the car, all doors are unlocked, and that's one of the first settings I actually changed on the car. Another issue I have is when you turn the car off. And what I mean by that is when you turn the car off, so you turn the car off, all the settings, or not all the settings, but the screens would stay on, and they'll stay on indefinitely. You can open the door, and the screens are still on. So if you have music playing, and let's say you're parked at work, and you decide to play, I don't know, some type of like an emo song, like a Linkin Park or something like that. I don't know, like I do like Linkin Park from time to time. And you have it all blasted, and you turn the car off, you get out of the car, you open the doors, you open the door to pick up your bag from your work bag from the back, and you can hear that. You can hear across the parking lot, you can hear the song that's playing, you can hear anything that's going on in the car. So one thing I found to do before I exit the car in that case is just hold this button, and you just have to hold it for a couple seconds, and look, it turns everything off. It turns the screens off. And then you just start the car, it all comes back on. No problems right there. A minor issue I've also found with this car is when your Apple phone gets an update, or maybe even your Android. I don't have an Android, so I'm not gonna be able to say that for sure. But when this phone gets an update, it confuses the system for a while. I'm not sure what happens. It just goes back and forth, and sometimes, like either Waze or Apple Maps or anything like that, it freezes. It doesn't communicate very well with the system. So what I found to work best is to restart both. So I restart the phone, I also restart the system. And how do you do this? I'm not gonna do it right now because I don't want to restart the system. But how do you restart the system if you're having issues with the syncing of the phone and the system or anything like that? Is you just press and hold this for a long time. I want to say anywhere between 10 to 30 seconds. You hold this button, it will reset everything. It's kind of like a hard reset for the whole system. It resets everything, and after that I found that it actually works okay. It syncs pretty well, so no issues right there. And one of the biggest pet peeves I have in the car, and I'm not sure if you guys are noticing, but my biggest issues or my biggest pet peeves with this car or annoyances are coming from the inside of the car, mostly the infotainment system and how everything's set up, the access ways. Another pet peeve that I have is this, the engine auto stop start. And what I mean by this is the previous models, this is the LCI version, the updated version, the previous models had a button here and you could just deactivate it. With this, if you're driving comfort, there's no way to really deactivate the auto stop start button. If you're driving in eco, you always have that on, unless you actually put the gear lever to the left. So you do kind of like this, and then put it to the left. This would deactivate the start button, but you don't always want to drive in a sport transmission setting. Like let's say you want to go in an eco or a comfort or something like that. You don't want the harsher shifts. You don't want to do that because this will put the transmission in the sport mode and the manual sport mode, and it's a little bit more rough to change gears, or when it changes gears. The best way I found out to deal with this, and if you want to keep the car still in comfort setting and usable, the best way I found out to do is go into sport, then we're here, then you go to individual, you configure individual, and here you put everything to comfort, because that's the only setting. You have sport and comfort. You put everything to comfort, engine, comfort, transmission, comfort, and that's it. So then you save this. So every time you switch to individual, your car would not use the auto stop start button. The reason why it would not do that is because you are technically in sport individual. And this I found it to be very, very helpful. If I want to drive a comfort, if I'm going for a long trip and I want to be in comfort and not to worry too much about the stop start button or anything like that, maybe preserve a little bit of fuel economy, let's actually see if we can do it in eco as well. So eco, we're here. I haven't really messed with eco too much. We can configure, and I don't think you have that option. You have a couple things, dampening, you can put it in comfort, steering, comfort, and that's it. So you can only change the dampening and the steering. So I would say it's a no-go here. So the only option to avoid the auto stop start button and have somewhat of a comfortable ride would be to put it in sport individual and set up everything to comfort. That way you can actually have a car that doesn't have the auto stop start button with a little bit of a comfort. One more additional thing that I don't like with this, let's say the infotainment system, let's not address it with the car anymore, because we've come up to the solution that everything to do is with the infotainment system, but because it's part of the car, we included that, is the kind of like the lane departure setting. I have it off currently, and the reason why I don't like it is the steering intervention actually. And the reason why I don't like this is when you're changing lanes and stuff like that, it tries to mess with your driving. I don't like this. I actually have the whole thing off, the lane departure off. I don't like that. So one way to avoid the automatic intervention of the steering and stuff like that is go to configure and turn this off, the steering intervention. Turn that off, and that will be great. Another thing you can do is turn the lane departure off. I have it off because I don't really need it or want to use it, but I can actually do, maybe put it on reduce, and that way for the people that are OCD a little bit like me, this is going to be green and it's not going to be orange, so we'll leave it at that. That's one thing that I really don't need, is the steering intervention, and I'm glad they give you that option to turn it off instead of the steering wheel just like vibrating every time you try to switch lanes or make a turn, especially when you're making a left, like a 2-lane left turn, because you have your blinker and there's a car to your left also making a left turn, it gets confused, it goes bonkers, it goes wild. And lastly guys, one thing that actually annoys me probably the most is the actual sync of the temperature. My girlfriend and I are very different people. We like our different temperatures. She likes it a little bit cooler, I like it a little bit warmer, so sometimes we end up with temperature like this, or even, you know, she has eyes running through her veins, so like this, for example. I don't know how she does it. She's phenomenal when it comes to that. But one thing that really annoys me is when I have to come back into the car and this is out of sync and I have to adjust it to make the numbers match. This is again my OCD. One thing that I found out that's very helpful to this, to kind of have a quick sync button, is if you go to vehicle settings, go to climate control, and right here you see synchronize. So boom, you synchronize it and it changed to 76. But how do you get quickly to this portion right here without having to shift between the settings and stuff like that? Well, these little buttons over here, if you guys saw one of my videos before that I was reviewing the car, these little buttons are kind of like hotkeys, and you can see up here they're not assigned up until I go here. I have these last two assigned, so these are not assigned. So what can you do is, when this is selected as a sync, what you do is actually, let's say with 5, you hold the button and it assigns the synchronize to it. So now when I hover my finger over 5, you can see synchronize. So how can I use that? Well, let's say we are in the media screen, we're listening to our songs, whatnot. The temperature is off. My temperature is off here. And this, again, keep in mind, this would always sync to the driver's side because they're the one in control, they're the one operating the vehicle. All you have to do is, again, it's synchronized. All you have to do is press 5. Boom. It syncs the two temperatures together, the passenger and the driver's side. It syncs them together. I find this very useful, especially, let's see, I change the temperature. It's synced now until the passenger side kind of changes it. And again, boom, it syncs it. I really love these keys. I love what BMW did with that. I'm trying to actually find more ways to attach these keys, because right now I have it in 7. It gives me like all the vehicle stats. I have it at 8 here, which is like the sport display, and the synchronize on 5. You can see there, these are still blank. I'm trying to find something else to attach. So maybe down below in the comments you guys can put what you guys have your hotkeys. Configure that. I really enjoy these hotkeys. I wish more cars would do that. So with all that being said, these are the things that actually kind of annoy me about the car so far. I know they're not that major, so I'm really happy with the car. The car is phenomenal. I have no gripes about getting this car. It's really phenomenal, because the sun is trying to come through there. The car is really great. I guess these would be more not with the car, but actual infotainment and the way it's set up, which is not a bad thing. You still get to use the car as part of the car, so that's why I decided to mention these. But I love the car. The car is phenomenal. These minor annoying things annoy me, maybe not, maybe they don't annoy you guys. So please share down below what annoys you about the car, or what you wish could be a little bit different, or what you wish can be improved in the future. If you guys like this video, hit the like button. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, just visiting, browsing, whatever, you want to learn more about this car, please subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.